Hi everyone. Thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for tuning up to my video. So for today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys and maybe basically doing a review on my Super 4. I'm going to do a night ride as well. So just to introduce you guys, this is my Super 4. It's a 2005 model of the CB400 Super 4. Mine actually comes with a blue flame exhaust right over here. So it's a blue flame exhaust. I've been, as you can heard in my previous video, I've been using this bike for about a year now. So maybe I can go through more with you guys during my ride. I'll explain to you guys about my Super 4. But it's a damn good looking bike. I got a good deal out of it. It's a good color as well. The previous owner actually repainted the bike, and I've been keeping good care of the paintwork here. So been polishing and washing it pretty good. I've also installed the top box as well, as my work requires it. So I did a top box installation. So without further ado, let me get into the ride and we can discuss further. Yeah. Alright, okay guys, let's continue with the night ride. Okay, so for today I'm actually recording my journey from Bukit Batu to Woodlands. I'm gonna go meet a friend of mine, so I take this opportunity to do a night ride. Okay, so I'm gonna take this route instead. I'm more comfortable with this. Okay, so a little background on the Super 4. So the Super 4 was basically Honda's 400cc class of motorcycles, 4-cylinder motorcycles. First launched in 1992. The CB400 was called CB400 Project Big One. I don't know why they call it a big one. It's oh shit, I think I activated the Google. Yeah. Nonetheless, yeah. So don't really know what's the reason why they call it Project Big One. Maybe you can do some research on it. Yeah. So basically, 1992, the first iteration of the Super 4, and then it kind of ran for 3 years, I believe. So 3 years from there, and they released the spec models. So you have the VTEC model. So I believe, I think so. I can be wrong at this, but the first Project Big One did not have VTEC. So VTEC, basically it's your variable valve timing. So they have it in cars. Honda cars, mainly the Honda Civic Type Rs, actually have this VTEC function. And actually Honda decided to put this VTEC in a bike, on a bike version of their Honda models of motorcycles, and that's when this Honda Super 4 came about. Honda Super 4 VTEC came about. So that was 1992, 1993, 1994, I believe 1995 the Super 4 VTEC came out, and after that there were two other versions of it. So two other versions, VTEC Spec 2 and Spec 3. So I'm riding the Spec 3 of the Super 4 CB400, commonly known, and it's a good, amazing bike. The VTEC, it's pretty good. So to the spec sheet, Honda Super 4 Spec 2 and Spec 3, I believe, both are carbureted engines. So it's the older versions of the current fuel injection bikes that Honda produces. So it's an old tech carbureted. Maybe I'll get another video to let you guys know what's the difference between carbureted and fuel injected bikes. But just to give you guys a basis, carbureted bike are older technologies. Fuel injection is more of a new technology. and fuel injection actually uses the onboard CPU. It's calculating the amount of air that's coming in and amount of fuel needed to do the combustion process of the engine. But then again, this is carburetor, so carburetor uses a more traditional method of mixing fuel and air in the combustion chamber. Okay, so yeah, back to the topic. Spec 3 was the latest version. It ran, latest version of the carburetor models. It ran until about 2007. Yeah, 2007. And after that, it was actually replaced by the Revo. So the Revo is the fuel injection version of this Super 4. So it has a fuel injection system. The main difference of the Revo and the Spec 3 is the fuel injection system, and as such, from my experience, I rode the Revo version during my Class 2A license. So when I take the license, the school bike is actually a Revo. My experience, my opinion is that the Revo actually has better acceleration. So your initial acceleration is much better on the Revo as compared to the Spec 3. Spec 3, from what I have experienced with my friend, especially my friend rides a Revo. He used to, as in one of the time, he actually rode a Revo, and the top speed of a Spec 3 is more superior. I'm not going to say what kind of speed we went, but definitely not in Singapore. It was actually in Malaysia when I went for my Malacca tour. But the Spec 3 beats the Revo in terms of top speed. Oh man, the guy is flying, it's a P-plate some more. Okay, okay, what's happening here? How are they going so slow, man? Fuck. I think I can get this light. Okay, yeah, so so the Spec 3 version beats the top speed, and Revo beats it in the acceleration portion. So I think across all the bikes, they are around the same power. From the specs I saw that the Spec 3 produces about 55 brake horsepower at 11,000 RPM. So that's very, very high in the ref range. If you guys have seen my previous video, I mentioned that the Super 4 produces all of its power at the high at the ref range. 4-cylinder bikes are known for that kind of character. So they produce a lot of power at the high end of the ref range, and low end they don't really produce much torque. If you can see, when I go off the traffic light, when I move off from the traffic light, my bike, it does not really accelerate that fast unless I'm really giving it the beans. So that's about it. Yeah. So in 2008, the Revo was released, the CB400 Super 4 Revo, and it was pretty popular. Popular in a sense where it wasn't really targeted at a lot of markets, mainly markets where there were three classes of license, different classes of licenses, right? So in Japan and in Singapore, they actually follow the pretty similar, same type of classing system. So you have your 2B, 2A and Class 2. So 2B starting off until about 200cc, your engine capacity, so 200cc. And then for 2A, which you can take after finishing 1 year of your Class 2B license. What the hell, man? Okay, sorry, there's some Bixby keep coming up. Yeah, so as I was saying, after a year of holding your Class 2B license, you can actually take your Class 2A license, and that's when you get to ride up to 400cc once you eventually complete your Class 2A course. And that's where I am at right now. So I just have my Class 2A license, which I got last year. So it's been about a year. Next week will actually be next Saturday will actually be 1 year of having my 2A, and I'm eventually going to enroll into a class 2. Yeah, I need more power, guys. Yeah, so Japan actually follows the same licensing criteria as well. So they also have like their small class. I'm not sure what. I don't think so. It's the same, like 2B, 2A, 2. Maybe they have a different name for it. But the classes are similar. So class 200cc, 400cc, and eventually class 2, it's your full beans, right? Anything above 400cc, you are able to ride it. So that's like the final motorcycle class they can aim for in Singapore and in Japan as well. Yeah, so for those who don't know, the CB400 actually got discontinued in 2002, October of 2002 last year. Reasons being that basically 4-cylinder engines are actually going out of fashion. If you know your motorcycles, if you're a motorcycle enthusiast like me, you would know that 400cc bikes are actually going out of fashion. Manufacturers are more inclined towards smaller displacement, not small displacement, scratch that, big displacement and lesser cylinder engines, so more torquier bikes. And there's also a lot of regulations nowadays for fuel emissions. So an older engine like this, which has been around, I believe, since 1992, the Project Big One came in, a lot of iterations like liquid cool and air cool, but relatively the engine has stayed the same. So this engine does not pass the Euro 6, I believe now, or Euro 5, Euro 6 regulations. So Japan kind of follows the same kind of regulations as well for carbon emissions. So this bike does not meet it, and Honda found it that it's not worth it for them to probably tweak the engine to meet the regulations, right? So they kind of said that, you know guys, 2022 is the last model year of the Super 4 CB400, and they just scrapped it. Let you guys see what the VTEC like. So this is the VTEC, you can see. It's a lot of power. Oh, I love night rides, man. There's so little traffic. You can give it the full beats. Yeah, okay. Maybe I might go a bit slower so that I can speak to you guys. If not, it's going to be very hard for you guys to hear me. So, yeah, so as I was saying, where did I left it? Yeah, so the Honda decided that, you know, it's not worth it for them to you know, retune the engine or work on the engine to make sure that it meets the regulations, and so they decided to scrap it in 2022 October. I'm not sure what is the replacement of the 400cc class, but interestingly enough, Kawasaki actually filled this void. So 4-cylinders 400cc bike were no longer in production. Honda actually scrapped it. So if you wanted a new 400cc 4-cylinder engine, you can't get it from Honda. Honda does not have that kind of lineup anymore. So actually Kawasaki, they released their Kawasaki ZX4R. So it's 4R. It's a 400cc inline 4 engine. Interestingly enough, it actually produces 90 horsepower. So 90 horsepower. I'm not sure on the RPM, on which RPM that it produces the 90 horsepower, but it produces 90 horsepower. That's crazy for a 4-cylinder engine. It's designed to be a race bike, right? So if you you know, search about it, the ZX4R actually it's a race bike, right? It has the body of a race bike, aggressive seating position, sports bike. Producing 90 horsepower. So right now you can get a 400cc bike, but from Kawasaki instead of Honda. Yeah. So I believe this bike is mainly targeted in Japan, right? So the ones who lost the opportunity to get a 400cc bike can get it now, right? From Kawasaki. Yeah. So, but interesting enough, this Kawasaki ZX4R is going to be released in the US. So unlike this CB400, which was not available in North America, the Kawasaki ZX4R is going to be available in North America, right? So that's good news for the North American peeps. Yeah. Okay, so the Super 4. Okay, let me maybe go into how it feels like to ride the Super 4. So just to give you a history, when I was actually thinking of getting a 2A license, I can't wait to get a 2A bike. I was actually already planning what motorcycle to get for my class 2A. And interesting enough, earlier in the days, I actually didn't want a Super 4. For those who don't know me, I'm a very tall individual. I am at 193 centimeters tall. That's about 6'3", I believe. Yeah. So I'm a really lanky individual. So I didn't get to try the Super CB400, like sit on it or anything. So I didn't know how well I'll fit on it. That has been a issue for me, fitting on bikes, especially smaller ones. Like the MT-15, I can't fit on it. Like my legs will be hitting the fairing. I can't ride it comfortably. It's something that I can't ride at all. The MT-15. A friend of mine actually has it, so he let me try it, and it's practically impossible for me to ride the MT-15. So I had this same concern when I was looking for the 2A bikes. So CB400 was not really part of it, and then when I was, so the turning point was when I started to take my 2A license, and I had to go and for lessons, right? And the bikes that are available for class 2A testing, for the lessons, right, it's actually a CB400, and by then it's the Revo version. So CB400 Revo. That was what I learned on. And I'm not gonna lie, guys, the first time I sat on the bike, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. The inline 4 is so smooth. It's had so much power to give me for a 400cc bike, and I instantly, you know what, I fell in love with it. So I told myself, you know what, I'm gonna get the CB400 when I'm gonna get my class 2A license, which I eventually got. Yeah, so that's the background on how I got my CB400 Super 4. I had a friend of mine, I would say, actually a friend's mutual friend actually. So once when we were hanging out talking, he actually told me that he's actually selling his CB400, and I told him, you know, I'm still taking my class 2A license. I can't buy it on the spot, and he says, oh, don't worry, you know, I'm okay to wait another month or so, not a problem. And he was willing to wait, and he give me a very good deal. Very nice guy. So I took over the bike. I bought it from him, and then yeah, so that's history then. And now I'm riding the CB400. Okay, so to continue on the Super 4, plenty of power to get around in Singapore roads, where, you know, the max speed you go is 90, so there's plenty of power for you to get you out of sticky situations, and, you know, keep yourself safe in a sense. 2B bikes, honestly speaking, people might say that, you know, they are enough for Singapore roads, but in my opinion, no. Those bikes are really too slow, unless, you know, you have like a 2-stroke engine, or something of a later year that is pretty fast. Most class 2B bikes are really slow, not really powerful enough to get you out of city situations. Good thing is that they are light. So the CB400, the Spec 3 version is about 199 kilos, close to about 200. No, sorry, the Spec 3 is a bit lighter, maybe like 190, I believe. Yeah, and the Revo ones, because they have ABS and fuel injection, they are actually much heavier at 199, close to 200 kilograms. So you do feel the weight, you know, when you are moving it about. But when you're riding, you know, any bike, even a Hayabusa, doesn't really weigh that much when you're riding. It's flickable, so yeah, it's fine. It's not really that bulky of a bike, not that heavy of a bike. A couple of girls actually ride it, you know. I'm not sexist or anything. But then biologically, men are much stronger than women, and women can ride this bike comfortably, so not a problem. Ladies, if you want to get a Super 4, go for it. And it sounds amazing, right? With aftermarket exhaust. I have a blue flame exhaust, as you can see in my previous, earlier on here in the video. It's a blue flame exhaust. It sounds amazing. It's really nice sounding bike, especially when you get it repacked. It does make the pipe louder, but it actually makes it sound better as well. So you better go to a place where they know how to do it. So for blue flame, the experts are Acumen Extreme. So I went to them probably a few months after I got the bike. I just want to get it repacked, see, make it sound a bit better. So I went to them and I got the bike repacked, and it sounds amazing ever since. So I love it. Oh, it's a Tracer 9 GT. So, oh wow. Interesting fact, I want to get a Tracer 9 GT as my class 2 bike. I'm still thinking about if I really want it, if I can really get it, the COA is very high right now, 10k, so really depends. I like the newer models. The newer the headlights are better, I believe. Okay, I need to turn left later. The Super 4 is so easy to overtake. So I would highly recommend the CB400. You can either get the Spec 3 or the Revo version. Both actually have a lot of parts that a lot of shops carry, so you will not have any issues finding parts for this bike. It's basically Singapore's workhorse. I think I've seen more Super 4s than any other bikes on the road. Except for Malaysia, there's a lot of kapchais, so they are everywhere. But in terms of Singapore roads, I think CB400 is very common. It's very common. So parts availability, it's always there, not a problem. Maintenance wise, it's actually a bit more expensive compared to other class 2A bikes. So it's a 4-cylinder bike, of course, so it uses about 3.6 litres of engine oil, I believe, or even less. If you change the oil filter, maybe more. So I believe 3.6 when you change the oil filter, and about 3 litres when you don't. I could be wrong, but I definitely know it's 3 litres if you don't change the engine oil. 3 bottles. So if anything, if you change the oil filter, then it will actually be higher. 3.4, 3.5. Yeah, I don't know the number, guys, so I can just Google it, simple. Yeah, so maintenance wise, this bike honestly has not given me any problems. Also, I take really good care of my bikes. I actually do a lot of preventive maintenance. So I try my best to bring this bike to the shop whenever I feel there's some issues with it. So overall, in my experience riding this bike, I've actually done a couple of changes. So I did like valve clearance a few months after I got the bike, and after that I actually did change my fuel pad cock. It was leaking, the VTEC solenoid also, and then but it's not like a game changer, right? It's not like a deal breaker where there's like, it doesn't straight away break down or doesn't start because the thing is leaking. It's just that it's annoying, and that all these things are leaking, right? So I changed it, and I also changed the coil because the battery wasn't charging. I brought it to diagnosis, it wasn't charging, so that was the most expensive thing that I did for this bike. It cost me about $400-500. and then I also got new tires quite soon after I actually got the bike, because the previous owner was using Machine Road 5s. I stick to them because I love the traction I get from them, and they have very high mileage. So I stick to the Super Road 5s, which are amazing in my opinion. And then yeah, a few other changes as well, but it's okay. I wouldn't say it's such an expensive maintenance of a bike. Yeah, so I think this is probably actually get on here soon. Okay. Yeah, so I think I will end the video here, guys. Already reached my destination. Wish I had a lot more time to talk to you guys about the Super 4 and how it handles. Maybe I'll do another video, continuation of this. Or if you guys have any questions regarding the CB400 Super 4, do let me know. I will try to maybe do some short videos to explain it to you guys, because I covered the bulk of them here. So I may not do another video on the CB400. Oh no, all the lots here are full. Okay, we're gonna go again. Okay guys, thank you for watching the video. See you guys in the next one.